I wrote this on the 13th of January 2019, but apart from the date, it's still all applicable. Last week I watched an X-Men movie, Logan, the last movie featuring Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier. I'm not a fan of the X-Men, but I had heard good things about the movie and I bought it cheap. The production and the acting are excellent. The story is good, alright, and terrible, depending on which part of the movie you're watching. But it is very violent and gory, with frequent foul language, and much of this involves children. Couple this with its message that Mexican children have to cross the border or die, although it's the Canadian border and they're being hunted by a corporation, not the government. This is not a fit movie for children to watch. However, as it is a superhero movie, I know children will watch it, which greatly disturbs me. 50 years ago, a movie like this would not have been made, although even then people were complaining about the lowering of standards. It was argued that adults should not be treated as children and they should be able to watch things that were adult. Violence, sex, cruelty, and swearing. To be honest, most people accept that argument. But why is it that we do so little to help parents protect their children from these things? Since New Year's, I have watched 16 movies and rewatched the first season of Game of Thrones. So it's not that I find violence, sex, cruelty, and swearing unacceptable, but no one pretends that Game of Thrones is suitable children's viewing. That's not true for Logan and other superhero movies. Sure, in Australia it's rated mature age 15 plus, but how many people pay attention to that? I've been watching a lot of British World War II movies recently, like In Which We Serve, an excellent war movie about World War II made during World War II, full of violence. It even has a little swearing, and of course it includes the cruelty of war. People, good people, die. It even includes humour, but at its heart it is a serious movie, something Logan pretends to be, but isn't. Maybe this is what bothers me the most, that it pretends to be something it is not. When I was growing up, violence or nudity in a movie would have the argument made that they were required for artistic merit. You never hear that argument anymore because now our standards are so low that having a child rip out a man's throat or shoot half his head off, both in graphic detail, goes without even a mention. This blurring of the line between children's viewing and adult viewing is not new, but it is getting worse. Simply because something can be done does not mean it should be done. If adults are to continue to enjoy violence, sex, cruelty, and swearing, then children have to be protected from it. And it must also be remembered that teenagers are not simply immature adults. They need to be treated not as children and not as adults, but as teenagers. It makes things more complicated. Life's like that.